It's time for another roundup of everything amazing in the world of archaeology. The basic rule of archaeology is pretty simple. The more we uncover, the more we discover. And thankfully, archaeologists never stop digging, which means the discoveries never stop either. Here are just a few of the most extraordinary ancient things they've come across in the course of their work. Number 15. My Son ruins. Vietnam is filled with ancient ruins, but these temples are different. These abandoned Hindu temples were first built in the 4th century, with additions continuing over the next 1,000 years until the 14th century. They were commissioned by the kings of Champa, who were the ruling dynasty of the Cham people. Each ruler preferred to build their own temple rather than inherit those left by earlier kings, using them for ceremonies and personal worship. Well, you can call it an ego problem. A few of these kings were even buried at the site, a privilege given only to royal family members and revered national figures. At its peak, there were around 70 temples filled with inscriptions and stone tablets, but during the Vietnam War, much of this sacred site was destroyed by American bombings. What remains today is only a portion of its former scale. Yet even in its damaged state, the My Son ruins hold immense historical and spiritual value, preserving the legacy of a once powerful kingdom that left its mark in stone. Number 14. Spiti Valley petroglyphs. Deserts aren't always hot, some are freezing, and you won't believe the Spiti Valley in India is one of them. But cold or not, it holds something amazing. In this tribal region of Lahaul, Spiti, ancient petroglyphs stretch across more than 10 square miles. These carvings, believed to be around 3,500 years old, remain a total mystery. They haven't been studied deeply, and no one knows who carved them or why. They could depict rituals, beliefs, or even early language, but nothing has been confirmed. That might change soon. UNESCO has shortlisted the site as a potential World Heritage Landmark. If that happens, it would bring both researchers and preservation resources to the area, unlocking the stories that may be hiding in plain sight. Right now, the carvings stand alone, carved into cliffs, left without context, and slowly fading. Spiti Valley has remained overlooked for centuries, but its turn in the spotlight might finally be coming. With a little bit of proper care, this hidden archive could finally start speaking for itself. Number 13. Pyramid of Ararat Plain. In the plains near Mount Ararat, archaeologists have been digging for years, uncovering Neolithic settlements and older structures. But the biggest surprise came back in 2017, a towering structure, quickly dubbed the Pyramid of the Ararat Plain. Measuring over 80 feet tall, it had remained hidden beneath layers of dust and debris for thousands of years. Experts estimate it's about 3,500 years old and has architectural similarities with Mesoamerican pyramids in Mexico. But unlike Egyptian pyramids, which served as tombs, this one likely wasn't a burial site. Researchers think it may have been a fortress or shelter used during attacks on nearby settlements. Some of those surrounding communities are believed to be 6,000 years old, suggesting the pyramid was built well after the region was first inhabited. Even today, studies are ongoing. No one fully understands who built it or why, but its discovery has added a new layer to Armenia's ancient history and raised a ton of more questions than answers. Number 12. Shield of Parade. This thing is both captivating and grim. Now housed in the British Museum's medieval gallery, it's hard to miss. The front of the shield displays a painted scene of a young knight kneeling, axe in hand, sword at his side, with his helmet and gauntlets laid beside him. Beneath him, a skeletal, sinister figure clutches at him, trying to drag him into the grave. On the opposite side, a noble woman looks on, detached and unmoved. Above them, a scroll reads, Vous ou la mort, which translates from French as you or death. The image represents a knight's vow to rather die than dishonor his beloved or lose her admiration by displaying cowardice in battle. This shield was never meant for combat. As its name suggests, it was created solely for ceremonial use, possibly for processions or court events. It's believed to have been crafted near Flanders around the 1470s, offering insight into late medieval chivalric ideals and the intersection of art, love, and death. Number 11. Ancient Cloud People of Peru. For years, the Cloud People of Peru were dismissed as a myth, described in old tales as a light-skinned, possibly blonde-haired indigenous group that lived centuries ago. That all changed in 2008 when archaeologists found an ancient citadel hidden deep within the Amazon rainforest. The site, built high in the mountains, gave its residents a strategic view of the surrounding jungle while keeping them hidden. The city wasn't just fortified. It contained rock paintings and grinding platforms likely used to process food and medicinal plants. Spanish records describe the Cloud People as allies who fought alongside conquistadors against the Inca, only to vanish soon after, most likely due to diseases brought by the Europeans. Their weird appearance raised theories about Nordic ancestry, possibly Viking descent, though that remains speculative. Whoever they were, this lost mountain city is the first real proof of their existence, and while the mystery of their origin still lingers, their forgotten civilization has finally re-entered the historical map. Number days. Crypta Neapolitana. The Crypta Neapolitana is an ancient Roman tunnel carved near Naples in 37 BCE. This massive underground passage stretches over 2,100 feet and was designed to connect Naples with Puteoli and the Phlegraean Fields. Before its construction, travel between the two areas was hindered by a vast marsh, making transport slow and hazardous because previous road efforts were proved inefficient. As trade intensified, a better route became necessary. Roman engineer Lucius Cocius Auctus led the project, creating a tunnel that remained in use for nearly 2 millennia. Repairs were carried out across the centuries to maintain its structure. It even served as an air raid shelter during World War II. The tunnel was finally closed in the 1950s after a landslide. It was later stabilized and opened as a heritage site. The Crypta Neapolitana showcases the Roman ability to reshape the land to suit economic and logistical needs and remains one of the oldest known examples of a functional road tunnel in the world. Number 9. Joseph Smith Papyrus. The Joseph Smith papyri are a set of Egyptian funerary scrolls that once belonged to Joseph Smith, founder of the Latter-day Saint movement. But contrary to what the name suggests, he didn't create them. These fragments were written in Thebes over 2,000 years ago, long before Smith's time. Alongside them, he also owned 4 ancient mummies. In 1842, Smith claimed the papyri contained the writings of Abraham and Joseph and published what he called the Book of Abraham. Egyptologists later reviewed the documents and concluded they were standard funerary texts. One belonged to a Theban priest named Hor and is known as the Book of Breathing. Another, which Smith said was the Book of Joseph, was for a woman named Tasharet Min and is part of the Book of the Dead. Smith's translations were widely discredited, but the artifacts remain significant in understanding early LDS history and how ancient Egyptian texts were reinterpreted during a time of intense religious expansion in 19th century America. Number 8. Nestor's 6 Cup. Wine drinking isn't new, and neither is the art of creating beautiful wine vessels. One of the best early examples is Nestor's cup, or as people call it, Pithekusai, a ceramic drinking cup found in 1954 in Lacco Ameno on the island of Ischia, Italy. The cup is believed to have been made on Rhodes about 2,800 years ago. What makes it stand out is the 3-line inscription etched into its side, among the earliest known examples of written Greek. The inscription reads, "I am the cup of Nestor, good for drinking. Whoever drinks from this cup will be seized with desire for the beautifully crowned Aphrodite." Strangely, the writing seems to have been added long after the cup was fired. It might be a reference to Nestor of Homer's Iliad, but there's no way to confirm that. Whether it was meant as a joke, a literary nod, or something else entirely, this beautiful cup remains one of the most intriguing literary artifacts from early Greek culture. Number 7. Thunder Floor at Ancient Andean Site. In southern Peru, near the site of Viejo Sangalo, about 200 kilometers southeast of Lima, archaeologists uncovered something truly unique, an open-air ceremonial platform that rumbles like thunder when danced upon. Built during the Inca period, and possibly still in use during early Spanish colonization, this ancient floor wasn't just for show. The platform was carefully constructed with multiple layers, silty clay, compacted guano, and other fills to produce deep, resonant vibrations when people moved in rhythm. It's designed to face Huaycana Cruz, a sacred mountain that hosts an ancient Andean usnu, or ritual altar. Researchers believe that the platform could hold around 26 dancers at once, and the booming sound they created was likely intended to mimic thunder, possibly to invoke weather or communicate with the divine. This finding suggests that sound played a far greater role in Andean ceremonies than previously thought. It wasn't just dance, it was ritual rhythm and raw sonic power that we can't explain. Number 6. Lost City of Bassania. Archaeologists in Albania believe they've located the ancient city of Bassania, a once thriving Illyrian settlement lost for over 2,000 years. Historical records say the city was taken over during the Illyrian Wars and eventually fell under Roman control. Roman historian Livy wrote about its fall nearly 2 centuries after the fact. Excavations near Shkodër revealed 2 stone structures previously mistaken for natural rock formations. They turned out to be fortifications, bastions flanking what would have been a gatehouse. Pottery fragments from the site date the city's foundation to roughly 4,000 years ago, with a clear Roman-era presence about 2,200 years ago. Surprisingly, there's no sign of destruction by fire or conquest. Instead, it appears that excessive quarrying in the region led to the city's decline. The surrounding land was stripped of natural resources, eventually forcing its residents to leave. Bassania wasn't destroyed in battle, it slowly faded away, consumed by the demands of its own construction. Alright, let's move to number 5. Ancient Estonian gold bracelet. In Saaremaa, which is in Estonia, archaeologists recently uncovered a rare gold bracelet at a 1700-year-old sacrificial site, making it one of the most valuable discoveries in the country's history. The site revealed ornate crossbow brooches, silver-plated belt plaques in Scandinavian style, and most striking of all, a massive gold neck ring from the 3rd century CE. Finds of this caliber are exceptionally rare in Estonian archaeology. According to archaeologist Mari, such jewelry marked elite status and was closely linked to royal lineages and political authority. This specific design is found throughout Scandinavia and Northern Europe, typically associated with the uppermost social classes of the Roman Iron Age. The artifacts suggest a wealthy, interconnected society with ties beyond the Baltic region. All recovered items have been transferred to the Saaremaa Museum, where they'll be featured in an upcoming exhibition. Estonia is often overshadowed by Viking lore, but discoveries like this one show that it has its own identity. Number 4. Gold foil couples in Norway. At a site near Lillehammer, where a pagan temple once stood, archaeologists unearthed 35 tiny gold foil figures, each about the size of a fingernail and as thin as paper. Dating back nearly 1,400 years, the figures usually depict a man and woman dressed in various garments, hairstyles, and jewelry. These delicate artifacts originate from the Merovingian period, a time marked by political instability and environmental hardship. They were found in different sections of the temple, suggesting they were deliberately placed, likely as ritual offerings or charms. Some researchers once theorized they could have served as entry tokens, but their concealed placement makes that unlikely. The Norwegian discovery is the largest of its kind in the country, and what makes them especially rare is that most of the foil pairs show couples. Similar gold figures have also been uncovered in Sweden and Denmark, but usually not in matching pairs. The find adds a mysterious new layer to ancient Scandinavian religion and social rituals, one still being decoded today. Number 3. Usha iron hammer. A family volunteering at the Usha archaeological site in Western Galilee in 2019 made a lucky discovery, a 1400-year-old iron hammer. Usha was a Jewish settlement active around 135 CE and was also the first seat of the Sanhedrin following the Bar Kokhba revolt. While the site was already known for its glasswork, wine presses, and olive oil production, the discovery of iron tools changed its profile. Only about 20 Byzantine-era iron hammers are recorded in Israel's archaeological registry, making this one extremely rare. Experts now believe Usha had an active ironworking center, likely producing nails, rings, and everyday tools. The site also includes ritual baths, pottery, and stone tools. Rabbi Yitzhak Nafcha, whose name is linked to the Hebrew term for blacksmith, is thought to have lived here, but the iron industry came later. More than 15,000 volunteers and students have contributed to the dig as part of the Sanhedrin Trail project, which links Beit Shirim to Tiberias and revives an important slice of Jewish heritage. Number 2. Celtic tree coffin. Well, back in 2017, Good Days, archaeologists in Zurich, Switzerland, discovered the remarkably well-preserved remains of a Celtic woman buried in a hollowed-out tree trunk. Estimated to be about 2,200 years old, the burial was found beneath a corporate building site. The woman, likely in her early 40s, was dressed in several layers of fine wool, fur, and sheepskin, clear signs of status and comfort. Her jewelry included bronze bracelets, a decorated belt, and a necklace made from amber and glass beads. The necklace featured a brooch-style clasp, allowing the beads to be easily adjusted or replaced. She likely lived a life free of hard labor, based on the condition of her bones. A second burial nearby contained a man, interred with a sword, shield, and lance, possibly a relative or partner. The Celts were known to use tree coffins in their burial customs, and this discovery offers a glimpse into that tradition. From Britain to modern-day Turkey, the Celtic world left traces, but rarely as intimate as this. Alright now, let's end this with number 1. Proto-ninja artifacts. Ninjutsu wasn't just an art, it was a survival strategy, and its origins may trace back to this overlooked collection of weapons from Japan's 1590 siege of Odawara. The items found at the site of Toyotomi Hideyoshi's campaign include sharpened stones that at first glance seem ordinary. But historians believe they could be prototypes of early ninja tools. Flat stones in particular resemble early versions of the shuriken. Akihiro Iwatani, a respected archaeologist and curator, has noted striking similarities between these stones and documented weapons from about a century later. On their own, the stones might raise eyebrows, but they were discovered alongside clay makibishi, caltrop-like traps used to hinder enemy movement. That's no coincidence. While it doesn't prove ninjas were present at Odawara, it suggests this siege may have shaped the beginnings of ninjutsu. Still, the stealthy, superhuman ninjas of modern media owe more to fiction than fact. What remains here are real tools of disruption and strategy, primitive, functional, and deeply rooted in conflict. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you soon in the next one.